Welcome to CWS Christian Writing and Speaking. I'm your host, Jackie Wilson, and today's guest is a speaker and an author. She has learned life lessons and gained wisdom that impacts others due to her experience of surviving the mass genocide of Cambodia. She has an award-winning book called How I Survived the Killing Fields, and she shares how tenacity, perseverance, and faith are required values to conquer fear and reach success. She wants the listeners to refocus, build confidence, and develop self-leadership so they can move forward. Let's welcome to the CWS stage, Miss Sara Im. Welcome, Sara.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Jackie.
Yes, I'm so excited to hear your story. It is definitely a story that sounds like it's full of strife and just, hurt and pain, but you've taken that story and created something greater out of it. Can you tell us what happened to you in Cambodia?
Definitely. Well, I will start from the beginning. I grew up in a small village in Cambodia. My parents are farmers, and I was the firstborn. Can you imagine being a firstborn in a family? I feel so loved and secure. And I love the environment surrounded by nature that it's just beautiful. And then when I get an opportunity to attend college, college is now close to home in a small village. It's in the big city.
Mhm.
So I left home, left my whole family attending college. While I was away from home, some horrible thing happened to Cambodia. We never expect this. When the communist Khmer Rouge took over our country, they basically came in a military style. We thought that the country will be at peace because now there's no more fighting. But we were wrong. This new group came in the next day. They pursued to evacuate all of us out of our own home. They kick us out, demand that we leave right away. Now have a chance to prepare, um, to plan. So we just walk out in the sun, in the heat, on foot. There is no way that we can get the transportation or anything. So foot marching out of the city. The road was so crowded and we didn't have any idea where to go, what to do. So we just follow each other. And to make a long story short, I end up in the village. And then within the next few weeks, I was transported to another place, which I thought they are going to take us to my hometown, which I was dreaming about to go back home. But no, I was wrong again, disappointed. So they look for volunteer from the single man and woman to go to this camp. So I volunteer because I want to keep moving. I want to do something, get closer to my hometown if all possible. So I register without knowing too much. You cannot research, you cannot know everything, but I decided to sign up. And this this time I got into a big camp. There was 1,000 men and women, all single, and they forced us to work extremely hard
Mhm.
in the intense hot sun. And we live in a very little food, very little time to sleep, no time to rest. We work 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. So with that intensity, many of us got sick. within my first couple months, I become very sick. Right? The illness that I got was like high fever, malaria, typhoid, and then my body got swollen all over the body, and then I get emaciated. The emaciation is so abrupt that I got so exhausted. Every time I emaciate, I lost about 10-15 pounds. So I keep puffing up and losing weight, puff up and losing weight until I lost all the weight that I can possibly lose. I became skin and bone, and I still had to go to work in the rice field, planting rice, bending out all day long. So until one day I cannot go anymore. They cannot push me anymore. I just cannot move. When that happened, they don't want me to stay in the same camp with the working people. They push me aside to another location. So when I arrived at that place, I realized this is now the hospital. It's the place that everybody wait for their time to die. And I realized it's a dangerous place. If I keep staying, I will get some more disease piling up on my little body. So I was searching for my way out. How do I get out from this situation? I cannot go back to the work camp because I can't work. I cannot run away because I'm exhausted. I am too sick. And then if I stay, I will die. When I run out of option, I start to pray because I believe that there is God. There is God, that He knows everything. So with my young self, I did not know much about God, but I know that He exists. So I start to pray at nighttime when nobody can see me. I sit down and pray, asking God to help me to survive. All I want is just to survive so that I can go home. And night after night, I pray. And then one morning when I woke up very early in the morning, I feel like I have extra energy. So I start to walk out from there. Thank goodness God protected me. Nobody saw me sneak out. So I got to the work camp, and then I found one team leader that she is so kind and she feels sympathy for me. And she took me in her group, and she realized that I'm too sick. She talked to the people at the kitchen, and she told me that you can go and work in the kitchen. Imagine when everybody is starving and I got to work in the kitchen. And at that time, I realized God answered my prayer in the most amazing way, because that was a life-saving situation. When I work in the kitchen, I get extra food to eat. I work in the shade, less hour. I get more time to rest and sleep. So eventually I recover my health. For several months, I have a wonderful time restoring my health. But when the big boss saw what happened, when they saw me look better, feel better, they pulled me out from the kitchen and throw me back into the rice field. Again, all over again. I start to decline, start to get sick again. But however, somehow I endure for the whole time, almost the end of 4 years, 4 horrible years. But And then they start to move the camp. There was something going on out there. I heard some sound, some gun, some bomb. So I know there's some fighting somewhere. So this camp got moved. And where they moved to? They moved us closer and closer to the jungle. When I realized that we are going to the jungle, and I realized, no, no way. I am not keeping, I'm not continue to stay with this group. I will risk my life to get out. So that's when God gave me the courage. God gave me the courage to plan an escape. I could not do it alone because I was too frail, too sick. And I gathered 3 of my close friends. They all want to support me and go along with me. Our escape plan was very careful and dangerous at the same time, but I believe God had protected us. We got out and we didn't get lost in the jungle.
And then
yeah,
you wrote a book about your experience.
yes, I wrote a book.
And what do you hope people will get from your book?
I hope that people never give up hope, because I was in the hopeless situation, but I did not give up. When you have such a strong love for something that is greater than yourself, in my case, my purpose is my family. I want to go back to my family to help out. So that's my purpose and my love for them. So never give up hope. And have love in your heart. It will carry you through hard times. Yeah. And I may add one more thing. We have to have faith. We have to have faith that God is there.
And what would you say to somebody who is going through just something really tough right now? You know, what would your advice be? What would be the first thing that you would tell them to do? Because I love how you said you just started praying at night. What would be your first piece of advice for the person that's going through right now?
If you are going through hard time right now, search all your soul that who is the person that you love the most, that you will do anything for that person. So you will hold on to something secure so that you will be there for that person. The love that you have in your heart is the most positive energy that you can possibly have. And pray, just like I did. Trust that God will hear you. God hear you. He's not far away. He's just as close as you talk to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to point out sometimes, just like in your situation, God gave you this opportunity to recover, but he did not immediately take you out of the situation. How did you know that there was a God and that he could, in fact, help you?
But for me, it went by when I was very young, like 7 years old. I listened to the story that my mom read in the book. It's not the Bible, but it's a story. In this story, there was a man who determined that his life will dedicate it to generosity. So he gave up everything that he owned except his wife and 2 children. But there was one mean person who wanted to take away his children and his wife. So he wanted those 3 people as his slave. So with this man that want to be generous, he decided to let them go to this mean person, and this mean person start to abuse the children and his wife in front of him. But God saw what happened. In this story, there was God, and God sent his angel to come to rescue the children and the woman. So from my young age, at 7 years old, when I heard this story, I already determined, I know there is God. So the belief that you have, that's what helped me. I believe that there was God at that time, at that young age, and I still believe. So yeah, people have to search the true God themselves. You have to believe. Nobody can tell you, yes, there is God. You have to find your way. But in my case, not many people tell me. It's only in the story, but I know.
But you just, only thing you needed was that one testimony to remember that there was God. And you were 7 years old when you heard that story. How old were you when they invaded your village?
I was 21.
So you're 21.
Yeah.
So there's a 14-year difference between you hearing that story and being 21 years old when they invaded your village. And I think it is important for people to remember, you only have to hear it one time, and then you have to choose for yourself. And that was your hard circumstances that put you in a position where you knew you had to choose to believe in something bigger than yourself, like you said. And for you, ultimately, you believe that God would help you. And that is why you started to pray.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. So tell me, what is next for you? I know you're speaking at conferences, you're traveling different places. What's next? What's the next big thing for you? What else do you want to do?
What next? I I decided I need to add one more service to help people, because when people hear my story, sometimes it helps them immediately and sometimes it takes time, but it doesn't last. So I want to help them fully recover. So I add a mentoring and coaching service.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can you tell people how to connect with you? Like, do you have a website?
Yes, they can go to my website. It's saraim.com. It's just my first name, Sara, and last name im.com. And you can look for book online, make an appointment with me. I can offer a complimentary 30-minute consultation or discovery call to see how the best way I can support them.
Mm-hmm. And where can they find your book?
My book is also in that website, saraim.com/book. So you just go to the book tab and just hit book and you will find it right there. So,
Very good. Very good. Now, what is the final word that you would say to people? What is the one thing, if they take nothing else from your story, what is the one thing that they should always remember?
you have to remember that you are not a victim of anything.
Mm.
You are a child of God. You have to believe that you are a child of God and you are worthy. God sent his own son to die for you because you are worthy. When you believe that you are worthy, God will see that and he will protect you. He will hear your cry. When I cry out to God, he heard my cry and he saved me. And he brought me to this beautiful country so I can start a new life. So I can share my message with you. and you do the same. God has a plan for you, and He loves you.
Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. I sure do appreciate that. CWS audience, you have heard her story and how those nightly prayers help her or sustain her through the hardest times of her journey. If you are facing something right now, no matter what it is, abuse, illness, whatever it may be, God is there to listen. Miss Sarah has shared that with us, and He will help deliver you. Sometimes the deliverance may not look the way that we expect it to be. Sometimes He may give us a brief reprieve, but if you keep holding on to your faith, believe you are worthy, believe that He's hearing you, like Miss Sarah said, then you will, in fact, overcome. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And until next time, beautiful people, God bless.